Hey everyone, Elektra back with you. I have some things to talk about tonight. First of all, did you know that an MD-11 UPS cargo aircraft crashed on US soil last night? A little over 24 hours ago right now. And if not, I would not blame you at all because this is appears to be being completely suppressed by the national media. I'm not hearing anything about it here in Chicagoland on local Chicago media, but that's not too surprising because cargo jets that crash tend to not really get national, um, well, I should say local news in other markets than the one that it crashes in, but at least usually gets mentioned on the national media. And and it's not even just the crash, but it was the fact that the entire city of Louisville, Kentucky was essentially shut down for the past 24 hours. School was canceled citywide. An entire section of the city at the crash site that was engulfed in flames, no different than as if we were carpet bombed by a foreign enemy. Um, and yeah, 680,000 pounds of jet fuel, which is almost 100% kerosene, was uh, was on that aircraft, and hence the insane inferno that was generated when it's basically contacted the ground on the left number one. Well, number one engine was detached, but the left wing basically just sliced across the ground. But anyway, no need to get into those details. Bottom line is, a major U.S. airline crashed. Yes, there were no passengers, but we still have to pay attention to this because depending on what happened, this, every crash is like a major clue as to like what needs to be fixed right now. And with obviously, I'm not going to speculate too much, but it would be naive to think that the government shutdown has no effect on this. uh, it, there's too many things that are too many parts move too many moving parts are in this in any aviation endeavor. The airline industry itself is like hundreds of moving parts functioning all as one. And like maybe you don't know this, but there are people that are hired, they are paid to essentially scour the runways looking for foreign objects that could be ingested into the jet engines, which I think is a very real possibility of what happened last night in Louisville. It appears a lot like the Air France Concorde crash in 2000 in Paris, where something was ingested into the number one engine, and it just was on fire. There's that famous photo that was taken of the Concorde just after liftoff. It seems that this UPS MD-11F was not as fortunate to have enough lift to get off the ground. It doesn't seem to have climbed much at all, based on the videos I've seen. And so, yeah, it's really just bizarre to me that this isn't just your typical cargo crash. Like there's been cargo crashes, UPS and FedEx, before. There was, I think there were two or so in the 2010s decade, and but they were just like pilot error because of like low ceilings, and like they contacted the ground. I think it was in like Huntsville, Alabama, but this seems to be different. Everything these days is different, right? Like we can't assume anything at face value. We have to assume that something else is at play. And why was okay? While the crash itself could very well be just like a very bad coincidence, why are 10% of all airline flights being throttled back in 40 major US airline markets? We have to assume. They haven't told us what cities yet, but it would be kind of pointless to do this in the smaller cities. It's going to majorly affect every airline hub, which, of course, are Democratic blue cities. And we all know that that's like, public enemy number one right now by this administration. And and going further, why does this administration want to take away our constitutional right as American citizens to freedom of movement around this country? If there's going to be any sort of conflict on the immediate horizon, we the people must be able to move about this country in a timely manner, because our rogue government sure as hell will be too. And if we don't have air travel available to us, if we don't have air power in terms of like combat aircraft, and being if we can't control the airspace, there's really not much else we can control. There's really nothing else we can do. I mean, in any kind of war, air power is first and foremost. If you do not control the skies above your troops, you may as well just give up, because you're going to be just destroyed, carpet bombed, whatever, missiles. I won't get into the specifics because I don't know all of them, but I know the theory that you need air power, you need airspace to, it's called air superiority. Whoever has that is at a huge advantage. And guess what this is going to do? It's the beginning. We have to assume that this is the beginning, and it's not just a one and done 10% reduction. We have to assume this is the first step. This is the first step on a very slippery slope, or a very slippery staircase in this case. And we have to think, this is going to continue. We are going to see probably 30 to 40% cuts in about by a year's time from now. We can easily say, we can easily see like maybe 40 to 50% of the airline flights we have right now won't be flying. It's going to be the biggest grounding since COVID in 2020. And there's more to it than like, first of all, why is the government being proactive on this, and yet proactive on almost nothing else? Because they do not want the people to fly. They do not want us to have access to a safe national airspace system staffed with professional, well-paid, unionized air traffic controllers that are basically ruining their stress and mental health on a daily basis to provide to make sure all air traffic is safe and gets to their destination safely. We've taken that for granted for a very long time. The air traffic controllers are kind of the figureheads for everything right now. And if we've been wanting a national strike now for like at least 9 months, well, the air traffic controllers could very well be the ones to start it, but it doesn't seem like that's happening because there's no organization. They're unionized, but they effectively can't actually strike due to all kinds of stupid precedents. So because what we're seeing them like just stop showing up to work, call in sick and protest, drive DoorDash instead of working as an air traffic controller. Like, they are highly skilled individuals driving DoorDash. This is not something they ever thought they were probably going to have to do. Once they got that job at the FAA and went to Oklahoma City for the Air Traffic Controller Academy, they thought they were set. And well, no one's really set now. Air traffic controllers was always like, it was almost, it was like one of the most stable jobs there ever was until like the last 6 months. And that has to be a major blow to them that they are dealing with. And yet, if you get on a plane today, you're going to be, some controller is going to be like, potentially, no one's going to admit to this, but they're not at their best. There's no way they're at their best right now because they have too much stress and too much worry. But anyway, enough about that. Why are we going to lose our freedom of movement? Because we need that to react to whatever this administration is going to be doing. It's clear that they are provoking something. If we had a foreign invasion right now, I think we would be better off than what this administration is going to have prepared for us in a very short time. Everything that's been done over the last 9 months would be considered an act of war if it was done by a foreign power. So let's put things into perspective here. They are passively provoking us into a reaction. Putting ICE in major cities didn't really do it. Putting the National Guard in major cities isn't really doing it. What's next? Take away air travel a few weeks before Thanksgiving and say, too bad, if you want to go see anyone, you're going to have to drive in potentially bad weather thousands of miles coast to coast and take 2 weeks out of your life to do that. Or take the train, but that's not a whole lot faster either. So yeah, UPS crash is effectively being suppressed by the national media because of reasons we don't quite yet know. But if it's being suppressed, we have to assume there's a reason for it, because the CRJ hitting the military helicopter back in January, that was widely talked about. I mean, that there was no suppression there at all, and that was January 29th. So Trump was back in office for 9 days at that point, and there was no suppression. It was all over the news. You know, it was like the first airline crash in years. Actually, yeah, since 2009 for passenger planes. And yeah, so we're being provoked into a revolution by essentially a foreign power or a cancer that has invaded the once proud federal government of the United States of America. Just because this foreign power and cancer is sprung from our society itself doesn't mean that it's not a foreign power or a cancer on our existence. We are being provoked into something, far worse actually than what the British subjected the American colonists to in 1775, 1776. We are being provoked far more than the South's attack on Fort Sumter in 1861 that started the Civil War. We are being provoked far more than Japan provoked us at Pearl Harbor in 1941, causing us to enter the Second World War. We need to put things in perspective here. These are the facts. And what the reaction needs to be, I don't know. It can't be emotional. It cannot be reactionary. It needs to be measured, calm, rational. We need to have the political will and how do I want to say this? We cannot be the attackers. We need to be the ones that are attacked, so we can have the political will and the political capital to be the ones with I'm drawing a blank. Sorry, I'm really tired right now, but I really wanted to do this. And in other words, we cannot be the attackers, because the attackers tend to lose wars, especially in modern times. The South lost the Civil War when they attacked first. Germany lost the Second World War in Europe because they attacked first. Japan lost the war in Asia, in the Pacific, because they attacked, well, first China in 1933, and then eventually us in 1941. And we need them to attack us. So it's almost like we need to provoke them into committing a Boston massacre, which really I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet from ICE and the National Guard being in like almost every major city right now, especially the ones in the north and the west coast. I think they're honestly surprised that no one has. I mean, when you think about how many guns are out there, it's really amazing that nothing's happened yet. Yeah, but anyway, I think that's all I got to say right now. Thank you very much for watching. I took a 2-week hiatus after No Kings 2. So yeah, I was just spent like those couple of days, plus my new job training was really burning me out, but it's going well, learning a lot, and things are going well up here in Chicagoland. Happy to be here. It's getting cold, might snow next week, but I'm fine with that. I don't care. Thank you again very much for watching, and hope to see everyone soon, and I'm sure I'll be back soon now. So have a good night, everybody. Bye-bye.